Hey, good morning, everyone. We will begin in just about 30 seconds here. Thank you for joining. Looking forward to it. All right. Let's see. Welcome, everyone. My name is Eric Williamson. We will begin here in just a moment, but I am showing that I'm sharing my screen, but it doesn't look like anybody can see it. If there's anybody who cannot see the screen, will you please raise your hand on the GoToWebinar or anything like that? I'm hoping that it's just a glitch on my side. All right, well, I'm going to move forward like everybody can see my screen. So if you can't, just let me know. Welcome, everybody. We are doing our Summer 20 Release Spotlight webinar today. We are scheduled for 2 hours, but I don't think that we'll go through and use the full 2 hours. My goals today are really to introduce you to our top 10 list of features that are coming out. And if you don't know, we have, or every year, thank you for everybody who told me they can see the screen. I appreciate it. Every year, Salesforce comes out with 3 different releases. These are some, you can consider these patches or something like that, but there's one in the spring, one in the summer, and one in the winter. And we are about 10 days away from this Summer 20 release of Salesforce. And so there are a number of features that are coming out. Generally, the release notes are 200 to 400 pages long, and frankly, a lot of them are behind the scenes, making things faster and easier, and you may not actually notice the difference unless you're actually in as an administrator or developer. Alternatively, there are a handful of features that will make a big difference when it comes to you as a user and being able to find different ways to become more efficient. So we're going to go through our top 10 list of those, and then where possible, I want to show you how to take advantage of these features. Some of these features you can take advantage of as an end user. Some of them you'll have to request that the admin take care of them. Unless you are the admin, I'll do my best to show you where you can set them up and work on them as well. So real quick, my name's Eric Williamson. I think I mentioned I'm the Director of Business Development for the Fury Group. We're a Salesforce implementation partner. Been around for about 15 years now. Just loving what we're doing and trying to make sure that our clients who are using Salesforce are getting the most out of their Salesforce. So that's what we're here for, and that's what we're hoping to accomplish today. Little bit of we're going to start with a little bit of housekeeping very briefly. We'll go through all the features and then we'll close out with some open questions. But just because we have a scheduled time for questions at the end, that does not mean we don't encourage you to ask questions throughout. So as part of that housekeeping, ask questions. If your GoToWebinar, it should look, it's probably a little more modern than this. I believe this is an old screenshot, but you'll have either a raise your hand button or a box for questions. So I encourage you to answer those questions or ask those questions there. I will do my best to keep an eye on those questions. If I don't get to them, then I will be sure to follow up with you and everybody else afterwards with those answers. But this is your chance to just ask any questions you want, preferably about the summer 20 release. But if there's anything, if we get finished early and you have questions about other things, we can certainly dive into those. I have a demo org up and we can walk through a couple of different things if you need them. And also my email address is here. If you have any questions afterwards or think of anything, go ahead and shoot those over to me over email. I'm going to try to remember to send this slide deck out because I have a lot of links to resources in here as well. So here's a snapshot of all the features we're going to go through. I have them broken down by main product. There's one big feature in Marketing Cloud that it's actually already available, but it's always getting a facelift, and I think it's just really cool. We'll go through that. A couple for Service Cloud and Sales Cloud, communities, and then we'll top it off with the 3 general open to everybody. They're just automatically gonna be available. And I will finish with my favorite, dynamic forms. So something everybody's been waiting for. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So Marketing Cloud, interactive email forms. Interactive email forms in Marketing Cloud is going to enable any Marketing Cloud user, anybody who has the Content Builder license for Marketing Cloud, to actually build an email for that has a form embedded in it. And so let me see, here's an example. You should be seeing my trailhead right now, and I have a link to this in the presentation that I'm going to share, but here's an example of an email. The idea here is that you don't have to send them to a landing page to take a survey. They're actually filling this out, checking the star, clicking yes or no, typing out comments, and then submitting the survey from within their inbox. So that's a really powerful feature. Couple of different use cases if you're on Marketing Cloud, and if I was a betting man, I'd bet that majority of people on here don't actually have Marketing Cloud. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but a couple of use cases. Getting feedback is the big one, obviously. But a lot of companies, if they're collecting information on their customers, maybe it's an insurance company or something like that, you can actually have the customers fill out forms with contact information that's inside of an email, and that will actually be sent back through Marketing Cloud into Salesforce and update Salesforce data. You can ask for product reviews and all that sort of thing. So it's a really powerful tool. I know that almost everybody struggles with getting survey responses, and so this is just one way to make it a little easier for your end users or your recipients to respond to those surveys. Couple major considerations. Right now, Apple, Gmail, and Yahoo AOL, they do support this. Outlook does not support the in-mail survey or form. And just the way that's current. Hopefully that'll change in the future, but The best way to get through that is by building fallback content. So if it doesn't render, then you just have a fallback where it's either a link or a description or nothing. So as I mentioned, that's available through Content Builder for Marketing Cloud. As far as licensing goes, that would have to be, if you have that already, then this feature will become available to you if it's not already available to you. All right, so that's the only Marketing Cloud one. We'll jump into Service Cloud. I believe Service Cloud is a little more popular than Marketing Cloud, not as popular as Sales Cloud, but we'll go through a couple of features here. Service Cloud Voice, Einstein recommendations to replies and surveys and chat. So the number one exciting feature for Service Cloud that's coming out is Service Cloud Voice. So this is a major change, a major update. Now, Salesforce's computer telephony integration, so getting that telephone connected, now available through omni-channel. And so agents and customer service reps can now use omni-channel to accept phone calls. And so that's a big deal. It used to be where you weren't able to accept it through omni-channel. It had to be done through something else. But something else that is really impressive here is that they've built in real-time transcriptions. And so what that means essentially is, and I don't know if you can see it here, but as you're talking, it's actually using natural language processing to over here to show your conversation in text. Right now, as far as I know, that is the extent of what it's actually doing. It's building that transcript. You can build some automation on top of it that will surface insights in real time, can give you next best actions based on things that are mentioned and that sort of thing. But this computer telephony integration that Service Cloud has now is going to be pretty revolutionary. There are a lot of big players out there in the CTI, computer telephony integration space, Five9, Vonage, and New Voice Media, a couple of those plugins, and Salesforce now has introduced their own. This is actually done through sort of a white labeled AWS, Amazon Web Services Connect, which is a CTI, but they've partnered to get this plugged in. So I've added a couple of resources here. Trailhead for getting to know it and understanding it. The release notes outlining some more details, and then some setup notes. If you do end up implementing this, there is some setup here. It's a fairly complex setup, as with any sort of CTI, but it's pretty well documented, and so you can access that there. And then also Salesforce provides a little YouTube demo if you ever want to take that time. You can go and see that demo there in video. There was one question about the Salesforce Outlook connector. The question is it going away or is it being sunset in December? Salesforce is so if I'll you know, why don't I hold off on that and I'll answer that question at the end, and if I don't get to it, I'll type something up and get out to everybody. What's the future of Salesforce for Outlook, Lightning for Outlook, Lightning Sync, all those different tools that connect Salesforce with Outlook or Gmail. And actually, just so everybody knows, Katie Labanowski is on our call today. She is the Fury Group's marketing director. And so, Katie, if you don't mind making a note of that for the Outlook connector, we can come back to that at the end, or I can get that out afterwards. All right. Number 3. So we had the first one for Service Cloud is Service Cloud Voice. The second one for Service Cloud is number 3 on our list, Einstein Reply Recommendations. So anybody using chat that is on the website. So if you're ever visiting a website and they have a little Start Chat button at the bottom right. In fact, let me see if this shows up here. So right here, Start Chat. GoToWebinar has a Start Chat. I don't think that's a Salesforce chat feature, but Salesforce has a chat feature for that. If you buy their digital engagement SKU, it includes chat. And that actually can be used with either Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, even though we have it under Service Cloud. But what that allows you to do is inside of Salesforce, your service reps or sales reps, inside sales reps use it too. They can engage with any customers on your website through that chat. And those chat messages are logged in Salesforce on that contact or lead. And let me see, I believe I have, yeah. So Einstein Reply Recommendations is actually a feature when you're chatting. Einstein will surface some potential replies, and these replies are actually learned behaviors based on other chats and conversations that have been closed. And so the consideration here is that the most accurate responses and recommendations come when you have about 10,000 or more closed chat conversations. And so this is going to be a high volume feature. If you're using chat, typically you're talking about customer service reps in the 50 to 100 plus range. But as Einstein starts analyzing all those conversations, the questions and comments that customers have, and the responses from all of your reps, it's going to start creating potential replies. And then you as a manager in the system will actually go in and say, that's a good response, or I want to adjust this response a little bit. And you can publish that to your service reps, who will then, it will start being surfaced as a potential reply. And then just as easy, they click the word post and it drops it into their chat. And it's quick. So I know a lot of customer service agencies and call centers are really looking for ways to reduce the number of clicks. And this is a really, really good one. And so if you have the capability, this is something that would be really great to take advantage of. It comes with the chat digital engagement SKU from Salesforce. So it's automatically available. If you already have that SKU, then you'll be getting it with this upcoming release. All right. Number 4 on our list, 4 of 10, and the third one in Service Cloud. So surveys in chat. If we just talked about chat, digital engagement SKU from Salesforce, and how you're talking to people on your website. If you're not aware, Salesforce also has a product called Salesforce Surveys. And this is a budding product that they have. It started off just trying to get feedback and trying to rival things like SurveyMonkey, but it started to grow substantially. Now they're offering it to be embedded in your chat function. So let's say you are communicating with a customer, or a customer's communicating with you on your website, and you resolve their issue and click end conversation. And now there is a question or a couple of questions like this: how was your experience interacting with our agent? And they'll just be able to click like or dislike. Quick, immediate feedback, and it will post that back to that contact or lead in Salesforce. And so it's a really good, again, if you're having thousands of chats a year or so, really good coaching and analytics tool, and really understanding what your reps are saying and doing right or wrong, and really lets you capture that feedback. And so surveys embedded in chats. All right, let's jump into Sales Cloud stuff. I believe 100% of people on here have Sales Cloud. It's one of Salesforce's core products. What I don't think everybody has is high velocity sales. And so the two items that are Sales Cloud specific are actually high velocity sales related. High velocity sales is an add-on product to Sales Cloud. Let me see if I have. I don't think I grabbed a screenshot of high velocity sales. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to jump ahead just to show you high velocity sales real quick. This may look a little bit different from your Salesforce, especially if you're in Classic. Hopefully everybody here is already in Lightning, but this is the Lightning view, and you'll notice that there are tabs up here for different contacts, whereas normally you'd see contact, account, lead, opportunity, et cetera, et cetera. This is actually different contacts. So we are in a console view. What this allows you to do is open up sub tabs. So if I were to be under Eva Bridges and I wanted to open up their company as an account, it would open it up as a sub tab under Eva Bridges and allow me to keep this top tab bar fairly clean. So it's a really, really neat tool. Console is generally available. Sometimes it's included depending on the SKU you bought. Sometimes it's a little bit extra cost, but really good tool. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm talking about high velocity sales, which actually works inside the console view. This work queue over here is high velocity sales. So what high velocity sales is it allows you to build sales cadences. So let's say you have leads in the central region, and you know that for brand new leads that come in, you want to call them immediately. In 2 days, you want to send them an email. A day after that, you want to have another follow-up call. 2 days later, another email. If you have that sort of process, or you want to build that sort of process, high velocity sales is where you do that. There is a builder here where you build out this cadence. So first email, first call, you can wait, you can have a follow-up call. And what it'll do is when you add a lead or a contact to that cadence, you can add multiple cadences, then it'll actually start surfacing the emails or calls that are due in the work queue. So let's say you have 200 leads that are in the central region sales cadence, but they're staggered. Some of them started the cadence a week ago, some of them started it yesterday. Well, the ones that started a week ago, they're already on the email portion here. The ones that started yesterday, you owe them calls first. So it's all going to show up in order that you need it. When you have something like Service Cloud Voice or Lightning Dialer, which is a phone computer telephony integration here, what you can do is just click dial, and it'll just start dialing down the list. And you can dial them, and as they click next call, it'll open up automatically that record in the console. And so as you're calling through, you're looking at the information that's available. What's the sales cadence? What's our past activity? And you're going through this and if you have emails, then you're able to just click email. There's an email template. You can edit the email template if you want, and then click send. And so you're going through it. High velocity sales really just meant to increase velocity of those sales. High velocity sales is about a year old itself. What is new is called my Einstein call coaching. Einstein call coaching is used in conjunction with high velocity sales, as these users are plowing through these phone numbers and making phone calls. If you're using Lightning Dialer, you can actually record the calls, and Einstein call coaching will start parsing that information. My go-to webinar is telling me that oh, there we go. Okay. So Einstein call coaching, here's a couple snapshots of what it looks like. It's a little tough to demo this just because it's not out yet. But what you're looking at here is a phone call between Wyatt Smith and Trisha Thompson, and you can see when either of them is speaking. You can go in and listen to the recording. There are some snapshots here. Trisha said it's expensive. There were a couple of competitors mentioned. There was a keyword interested that came up. You can click on these and it'll take you directly to that spot in that recording, and you can listen to that conversation. On top of that, you'll have aggregate details of all your phone calls and figure out how often things are mentioned. How often are our competitors mentioned? Obviously, Caviar is mentioned more often than any of these others. And so maybe we should start a campaign around bidding against Caviar somehow. Product mentions, you can have custom mentions, but the whole purpose here is to enable analytics and coaching of your reps. Here's a little bit more reporting. And so to have Einstein call coaching, it does require high velocity sales, which requires Sales Cloud and Lightning Dialer. But if you have these licenses, Einstein call coaching, I believe, is baked in. And so it's a really good tool that'll help you surface insights for coaching purposes. Also, so number 6 on our list out of 10, and here we are at 10:30, and we're 60% of the way through. My feed alerts. This is also a high velocity sales item. And frankly, it's just something that I think has been needed. They just finally got around to adding it. But when you're using high velocity sales and you go through and send emails as part of the cadences, now you can start, you have another tab for my feed. And this is actually going to show you real time when your targets are opening these emails and clicking through these emails. And so as you're going through these cadences, your my feed, you'll have a little badge here that pops up 1, 2, 3. And in the middle of a cadence, you can stop and click over to my feed and just call them. Hey, I noticed that you opened the email and wanted to give you a call and see if you had any questions. People find it creepy, but it's endearing, an endearing kind of creepy. And frankly, it doesn't matter if you're selling, if you're trying to support, then however you want to be attentive to your customer, they're gonna be okay with that, and you're gonna show attentiveness there. So my feed alerts, I have high velocity sales trailhead here as a resource. So if you ever want to get on, I have a bunch of trailhead links in this presentation, so you'll be able to jump into those. If you don't know what Trailhead is, by the way, Trailhead is Salesforce's free online learning platform. Let me see if I have a badge up. Well, I'll show you. I'll show you in a little bit here. So you can click on these and go through and learn more about some of these items. All right, community. So there's one item in communities that has actually come up with a lot of our clients who are community users. And obviously, this requires community licenses. So if you have a community, meaning your customers, clients, partners, anybody like that has external access to certain subsets of your data that you have granted them, then there is a new enhancement to visibility and security, and it's account hierarchy enhancements. If you are familiar with how Salesforce manages role hierarchy, this will make a lot more sense to you. And so what it means is you create a hierarchy, and everybody above on the hierarchy can see all data owned by people below them on the hierarchy. So a sales rep can see their own data. The sales rep's manager can see all the data of all the sales reps under them. The director of sales can see all the data for all the sales managers, for all the directors, and so on and so forth. Well, there was an issue with external communities where the biggest use case, I think, is when you have a manufacturer using Salesforce, and they have a portal for their distributors. And then those distributors are assigned to specific end customers. You want those distributors to be able to see all the orders for those end customers. Well, those end customers are different accounts, and so you're not going to be able to, before you weren't able to really let them do that without manually sharing every single piece of data with that distributor. Now, and I'll show you a little bit of this. Now you can actually create account hierarchies in the external portal. And again, here, I won't spend a lot of time in this because I don't think that everybody has portals. I don't think a lot of you do, but if you do, it'll make a lot of sense. So right here, Burlington Textiles Corporation of America. You notice this is an external account hierarchy. Burlington Textiles Corporation of America is the parent to Dickinson PLC. And inside of Burlington Textiles, you have a guy by the name of Jack Rogers. So Jack can go into, I'm going to log in as Jack into his community. When Jack goes into the external portal, he's going to go into sales and deals. And not only can he see all the Burlington Textiles Corporation of America opportunities, he can now also see all the Dickinson PLC opportunities, because Dickinson is now below them on the account hierarchy. Completely different company, but he has visibility into them because of the way we set up external account hierarchies. I'll mention that external account hierarchies are actually pretty easy to enable inside your Salesforce, inside settings, but getting them actually created can be a little confusing because it has to do with a lot of different relationships that you have to be able to conceptualize. All right. All right, so that's account hierarchy enhancements. Now we get to the fun stuff. 1034. I'll pause here just for a second. Does anybody have any questions about what we've already been over? I think that majority of the stuff that we just talked about, maybe 10% of you can actually use, and so I want to try to be as relevant as possible. So without any further questions, we will go ahead and jump into the last 3 items here. Einstein Search, number 8 out of 10. So Einstein Search, I really wanted to show you a live demo of Einstein Search, but unfortunately I can't set it up in a developer org. I can only set it up in a live production org. But what I can do is show you how to set it up and let you set it up yourself. So before that, I'll show you what it looks like. You may be used to the search feature being something like this. Right now I'm in Salesforce. Here's my search bar. I can come up here and search Burlington, Bertha Boxer lead, and it just shows, it surfaces all my recent data. If I go and search for Burlington, it's going to show the opportunities, accounts, contacts. That's great. Great search feature. I can even narrow it down by object if I wanted to. Accounts, I just want to search accounts. Well, there's a little bit to be desired and more options here. With Einstein Search, you have a couple of different areas now in your little drop down. Number 1 here, this is going to show personalized searches. So if you start typing in AC and normally you're looking for opportunities, it's going to come up with Acme opportunities and Acme accounts as well. And then AC can also mean global media accounts. So it'll surface some personalized data. This section is learning from your personal search tendencies. Under here, this is also going to be searching for recent or more recent records that you've looked at. And then at the bottom here are list views. So list views, if you're not aware, a list view is anytime you go in and click on an account or a contact. So if I were to click on an account, this is a list view here, recently viewed. These are all the different list views I have for accounts, all accounts, my accounts, etc. So at the bottom here, it surfaces list views that could match AC. All accounts, my accounts, all accounts with rich text. But here's my favorite part. On the right-hand side, if you roll your mouse over without clicking one of these records, it's going to pull up a snapshot of that record with all the related lists, along with the quick actions that are available to you. So you don't even have to click on this account to go in and create a new opportunity. You don't have to click on this account to go in and see what opportunities are available. You can actually, and this is why I wish I could show you a live demo. The screenshot won't do it, but if you roll your mouse over without clicking this opportunities list view link here, it will actually pop up a list of all the opportunities on Acme account that you can then select or just look at. And all this without clicking away from the current page you're on. It's just surfacing it and showing it in pop-ups. Really powerful tool, really good, really easy to set up. I'll show you real quick. If you're familiar, if you're an admin, you can go into setup. And in the quick find box, you just start typing Einstein Search. Enable Einstein Search. Right now, I can't turn it on. The The org I'm in doesn't allow it, but you'll be able to click this. And then you will have to go through a step of assigning permissions. And there are instructions here that can let you assign those permissions to different users who want to use it. And there is a question about availability. Do we have to buy it separately? And the answer is no. It is included already with your full licenses. If you are Sales Cloud Enterprise license or professional license, I believe also, Service Cloud user, it's available to you. So no extra cost. In fact, it's been available in beta. Fury Group's been using it for the past few months, testing it out with everybody, but it'll become generally available in the next week or so. Really powerful search feature, pretty easy to turn on. You just can't forget to assign that permission set to those users. Good questions. Please keep the questions coming along. I definitely want to be a resource, and I can definitely see us finishing by 11, so we do have time to go through questions if you'd like. So, got to take a sip of coffee here. All right, so ListView enhancements. Number 9. If you're like me, one of my favorite features of Lightning in general, when Lightning first became available, we noticed that there was this Kanban view. And so this may be the first time some of you have actually ever seen this. So this is I'm just looking at an opportunities list view. This is called a table view. Over here, this is this display type. You can actually select Kanban. And if you're familiar with project management, you'll be fairly familiar with this. This is showing all the opportunities stages that are in my Salesforce org, prospecting, qualification, et cetera, et cetera. And then in view of little cards below each stage shows which opportunities are in each stage. This number here is a roll-up of the opportunity amounts in each stage. These little triangles show that there are no open activities, and I can actually create a task or an event from this view. And if, for instance, Grand Hotels, I actually do know who the decision makers are, I'm just going to drag and drop, and it's going to update everything automatically for me. Kanban view, super powerful. It's been out for a while. What is going to be brand new in the release is the guidance to success. And I'll show you, if you're not familiar with the guidance to success, I'll go into an opportunity here and show you what it is real quick. If you have it set up, and I can show you where to set it up here in just a second, you have your prospecting, you have your pathway across the top here, and you have this little caret, if it's set up. And this little caret's going to surface in this stage, ID decision makers, these 5 or these 3 fields are super important. So I need to focus on these fields during this stage, and I can come in and edit them. These are also fields that are found down here on the details section, but right now, since they're really important in this stage, I decided to put them up at the top. You'll notice when I switch to value proposition, the fields change. Needs analysis, fields are different, because at each stage, different things are more important. So back to the Kanban view, this little button here is new, show more details. Now I can see the guidance to success and key fields on the right-hand side. And on top of that, I can update them. So big use case for this is a sales meeting. Let's open up opportunities and take a look at them. Okay, John, why is Express Logistics still in value prop? Why aren't we in ID decision maker? Well, you know, the close date is past due here. I just forgot about it. Okay, let's update this close date. It's going to be next month. Good. now I want to see you move that to ID decision maker. Great. That's one use case. Right now I'm in opportunities. The pathway and the guidance to success is also available on custom objects as well. Let me jump in and show you where to go. So in setup, in the quick find box here, I'm going to look up path settings. And here I have a campaign and opportunity path. I can click a new path, name it, choose any object that has a pick list. The object must have a pick list. So let's say it's the order on the record type. Also, you can have a different path for different record types. So let's say I have a rental opportunity and I have a purchase opportunity, and they have different pathways. They have different stages. I'm going to create one pathway for the rental and one pathway for the purchase. And then I'm going to choose the pick list that's on that object that will guide that pathway. And so here, I really just have two different selections in that pick list, draft and activated. But I can add fields here by dragging and dropping. You can have up to 5 fields per stage or per pick list selection. And then on the right-hand side, something I didn't show you yet because I didn't set it up. You can upload images, or you can put in bullet points of things that you want them to remember. Remember to send a gift. And then you activate it and finish. And now that path will show up, or you'll add the path component to the order page, and it'll show up with the guidance to success. You go into order pathway, order Kanban view like this is opportunities. You click details, and now you have those items in the far right side. Great tool for Kanban view. Kanban itself is great. Having the guidance to success is even better. One other enhancement here is the split view. If you have used the console, like I showed you before, you'll be familiar with this, but another view here, display as table, you already saw. Kanban, we're looking at now. Split view. What this is going to do is open up your list on the left-hand side. And anytime you click on an opportunity, it'll open it up, or a record. Split view is available for any object. When I say object, I mean opportunity, lead, task, account, contact, any custom objects that you have. The list is over here. So I clicked on pyramid energy or emergency generators. I can do whatever I need to do here. And now I want to go down to Edge SLA. It's going to open it up now. So I can constantly keep this open and work through them without having to navigate back and forth to the list view record, open at the same time. A little hint here, you notice that there are 4 pieces of information per opportunity. Pyramid, the name of the opportunity, the account name, the amount, and the close date. If you go back to the table, you'll notice that those 4 items are the first 4 columns on this table. If you want something different to show up in that split view, all you have to do is come over here and edit the fields to display, change the order, save it. Now we're going to go back to split view. And now instead of that close date, we have the stage of the opportunity. Just a quick aside. Release notes are available here if you want them, but those are the list view enhancements. I think those are really powerful, can be really helpful feature enhancements. Last but not least, dynamic forms. One of my favorites. What this will do is allow you to take that details page This is the details page with all of the fields, and you can split those fields up into different tabs onto another component on the right-hand side. You can put it up top, wherever you want to put it. Here's the caveat. It does not work for the core objects yet. It does not work yet for accounts, opportunities, contacts, or leads. They are working on it. They say that it should be available for that in the winter. But right now it is only available for custom objects. I know, it's a big gift. They give it and then they take it away. But I created a quick custom object here called trucks. Right now I have a details section, and this details has the selling price, category, condition, make, miles, model, etc. Exterior data. What does it look like on the outside? How many doors does it have? 2 or 4? What condition is it in? And then under the hood, what's the drivetrain look like? What's the transmission, etc. These are, I just simply split these out into different tabs. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. There's also the ability to open up or put it into another component. And when you put it into a component, and what I mean by component is every separation here, this block here is a component. This block here is a component. This one up here is a component. So the benefit of having it in a separate component is that you can make it conditional. Let's say that this truck, whatever value this is, now we're going to make it a value 1 category. When I click save, now I have a conditional component here that says, if this is a value 1 category, I want you to show this section so they can choose what options they are. New, bus, used, and save. And that is all saving into those fields and on that data on that page. Pretty awesome. I get that I'm a nerd and a geek about Salesforce, so I'll try to temper my excitement. But let's go into how you can do this. So normally you would go in to edit the object and change the page layout. If you're an end user, this may not look familiar to you, but admins, you're probably pretty familiar with this. I'm looking at the truck object. I go into the page layout, and this is where I determine what fields are on my page layout. Normal. Well, now, instead of going to edit object, we're going to go to edit page. And so this is actually editing the user interface for this object. And they have now surfaced the ability to move fields around in the edit page section. And so you'll see over here, you're used to this component sidebar where you can drag and drop different components into the page. But now there's another tab here called fields. So you first have to put in a fields section, and you can determine if it's 1 or 2 columns. You can label the section. And then you can add different fields to it. You can determine whether or not the field is read-only required or just simply a field from this area. And this is where you add a filter. So you notice that I have this one field selected, and I can add a filter here. So this is going to be really neat, where if you ever have a form that you want to guide your users through filling out, you can start adding all these fields on and just make them filtered and visible only when the previous field is filled out. So let's say category, I want condition to be filtered on the category, when the category changes to value 1, I want it to show up. And then I don't want the VIN unless the condition contains ABC. I'm going to save that, and we'll go back and take a look at what that did. So let's move this back to none. Category alone, nothing below it. Category, I select value 1. Condition opens up. ABC. Now I have access to the VIN. Really powerful stuff. Where this really makes most sense is when you have a lot of data on a page that is dependent on each other, and you want to clean that page up for your end users. A lot of times you get bad data or inaccurate data when the page is too cluttered. Your end users are tentative to fill things out because it's just too much going on. And so this is really a good way to help clean that up and also to encourage them to fill things out in an orderly manner. So this is free. It's open. It's come July 17th or 18th. It's going to be automatically available for all custom objects. So you will have this. No worries. You do have to turn it on. Let me get back to setup. So I believe we're searching for record page settings. Dynamic forms. Turn it on. So this is a good point. It is for desktop only. It is not available for mobile yet. Not sure if that's on the roadmap, but this is for desktop only. So won't really be a consideration for mobile just yet. So this is where you turn it on, and that's pretty much it. Easy as that. All right. Those are our top 10. There are obviously a lot more. I will click on this and show you. If you haven't been here yet, you can go to releasenotes.docs.salesforce.com and find the summer 20 release notes. You can even find all the past release notes here. By the way, winter is going to be called winter 21. Even though it's in 2020, the next release will be winter 21. So just a little vernacular. You can go through and you can find the areas that are most important to you: sales, service, analytics, mobile maybe. And you can find all the things that are coming out in the upcoming release. And so while I only highlighted our top 10, the ones that I'm most excited about, you definitely have a lot more here. You can download it in PDF if you want as well. So with that, at 11 o'clock, an hour before our scheduled end date or end time, I'll open it up to questions. And if I don't get any questions, then I will go ahead. Actually, while I'm waiting for questions, I'll go ahead and talk about that Outlook connector. Right now, we go to Lightning for Outlook. Oops. There are a number of, well, there are a number of tools that Salesforce has available. So there is Lightning for Outlook, which is the built-in connector, the connector that you get out of the box that gives you a sidebar in Outlook and allows you to log emails directly into Salesforce. There is Lightning Sync, which is a separate feature that actually syncs contacts and events events meaning calendar appointments between Salesforce and Outlook. And all of this applies to Gmail as well. And then there is Salesforce for Outlook, but that is a legacy product, and if you're still using that, then you probably ought to switch to Lightning for Outlook anyways. But Salesforce has said that Lightning Sync and I believe Lightning for Outlook are being sunset at the end of this year, and they're being replaced with Einstein Activity Capture. Einstein Activity Capture is an automatic email logging from Outlook or Gmail. And, you know, I have my own opinions on it personally. And there are, and I believe there are still probably a couple of kinks that they have to work out. And so the Fury group ourselves, we're constantly learning and understanding what the implications are going to be. And it is definitely something that is top of our mind for y'all as our clients as well. And so you can be assured that we will make sure we're communicating with you when definitive layout, definitive pathway comes up, and we can provide some guidance on how to navigate the changes there. But for now, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Continue using Lightning for Outlook if you have it. Continue using Lightning Sync if you have it. We'll help you understand the changes coming as we get a little bit closer to October, November timeframe. Any more questions before we kind of sign off and I get this slideshow distributed to everybody? And at this point, we can answer questions that aren't specific to the release notes either, if you wanted. I mean, technically, I'm here till noon, so so we can do whatever you need. All right, cool. Is there a call coaching feature for Service Cloud Voice, or is it only for Sales Cloud? Great question. So right now, call coaching, I believe, is only available for high velocity sales, which is a Sales Cloud add-on. And so I believe the answer is it is not available for Service Cloud Voice as of right now. So that being said, I'll be sure, and Katie, if you don't mind making a note and helping me remember, I'll be sure to look into that in a little more detail and get a more definitive answer for right now for if call coaching is available for Service Cloud Voice. If it's not, it would, in my opinion, it would make the most sense as a good next step for Salesforce, but we'll see what's out there. Second question, is there any information on how the Service Cloud Voice will work with intelligent IVR? Wow, great question. So I don't know. That is a great question. I'm hoping this would be an assumption on my part. I would assume that since Service Cloud Voice is built on AWS Connect, then it would have an open CTI and API integration with other IVR providers. But I don't know. So you know who you are that asked that question. We can tackle that offline, unless that applies to somebody else. If it applies to you as well, if you're interested in understanding Service Cloud Voice and how it works with IVR, ping me and we can be sure to put some stuff together. But we can connect afterwards, specifically on that. Let's see, tracking. Next question: can you get into tracking sales activities, calls, etc. So tracking activities, there are a number of ways to do this, and I'll touch on what's actually coming with Einstein Activity Capture. Will actually allow you to take a look at an opportunity list view or an account list view, like a table here, and you will actually have the ability to see. Right now, what you can see is last activity. With Einstein Activity Capture, it will start breaking it out into last email, last phone call, last task. So there's a little bit of granularity advantages to Einstein Activity Capture. But I think what you're asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, is more along the lines of just simple reporting and dashboards. And so I don't know what I have built out in here already in the dev org here. I did use this same org for the reports webinar about a month ago. And so I'll have whatever I built out from then. Let's see here. So there is a dashboard, and I think I mentioned this about a month ago, but on the App Exchange, there's a dashboard. You can download a pre-built dashboard called Clean Your Room. And this will actually, well, I probably shouldn't have refreshed it. This will actually come pre-built with a bunch of things that will show you what's going stale, what has had no activity in the last 60 days, what opportunities are over $10,000 without products. So generally speaking, if you're not used to this, this is showing you can add an opportunity amount without adding products, and sometimes that just means you're estimating, but when you add products, you're actually quoting. And so what's been estimated but hasn't been quoted. So these are all built in like leaderboard style. So I don't know if that's what, if you're interested in leaderboard style, this is one way to do that. You know, I'll just go through and build a basic report. If we're looking to track activity, and I'm clicking new report here, I want to come down to, where am I? Activities. And I'm generally focused on tasks and events. And if you were on the webinar last month, I always start with filters. I want to see all activity, not just my teams. I want to see all activities. I don't care when they were actually done. As far as I want the data in here, I can actually group it by date, but I want to see all time. And I only want to see completed activities. And you know what? For this, let's just do tasks. If you wanted, you can add like a subtype for calls only or emails only or anything like that. But this should show me all of this. I'll go ahead and refresh that. Okay, well, I'm not sure how much data is actually in this dev org, so apologies. Apparently nothing. So this might not be a great example of what you're asking about, but generally speaking, if you're wanting to do a leaderboard, you're going to group it by the assigned person. So it's all about how you group it. Dashboards are all about how you group. So either by assigned person to do a leaderboard or some sort of comparison by the people. You can group it by date. And then when you group it by date, you have additional options here. Here's the grouping. You can group the date by calendar week, calendar month, calendar quarter, fiscal, calendar month, and year. So calendar month is going to show you January 2020. February of 2020, March 2020. Calendar month in year is actually just going to show you January. It's not going to actually take into account the year. So this is a really fascinating grouping here, because what you can do is show year over year in a given month or day of the month. And so these are really powerful here too. But if you want to show like a trend, whether it's in a line graph or a stacked bar chart, you can group by calendar week or month, whatever you decide. And then if you're thinking about, maybe I want to see all activities, but I want to see it subdivided by subtype, by emails, calls, tasks, etc. You can come in here and subdivide it by task subtype. And I wish I could show you with actual data and show you the representation, but obviously there's no data in here. And so what this will do is now I would be able to create and I know I'm asking you to think abstractly and right now, but I would be able to create maybe a stacked bar chart where it has a bar for each week, because I subdivided it by week. And then each bar has a different color for call, email, task, etc. So I'm not sure if that answered your question entirely. It's a fairly general question. If there was something specific, you know, are you looking for a leaderboard? You're looking for trends over time. You're looking for what percentage of activities are phone calls versus emails. What accounts are missing activities? You know, that's always a good one. Anything like that. It's all going to come down to how you group it. If you group it by account, then you can start identifying accounts that don't have activities. So that's that. If I didn't answer that question directly, then we can connect afterwards and I can address it individually as well. So that was the last question that has come up. If anybody, okay, so looking for best ways to show a salesperson's activities, calls, emails, leads, projects won. That's a little bit more in depth. Why don't we connect afterwards and we can map out a couple of ideas there. We can do that. All right. Any other questions? If not, I will go ahead and let y'all go. And I really appreciate y'all joining. Thank you very much. Hopefully it was helpful. And if you do have any questions afterwards, again, email address is williamson@thefurygroup.com. I will send this out. It has a lot of rich resources and links in here. You can follow, and happy to answer any questions you have in the future. So thank you very much. Y'all have a good rest of your day.